Hi everyone, it's Miss Goldman and we are doing our 7th lesson of Eureka Module 6. As always, if you are printing out these lessons because it is easier to do on paper, which is totally fine, please make sure you are sending in your work to me so you receive credit. You can do this either through Google Classroom, Class Dojo, email. And as always, we are doing these lessons live at 11 o'clock. But since you're watching right here, right now, I want to remind you that if I'm going too fast, you can always press pause. I'm trying, I know, to go a little bit faster than I would normally give you for time, but I know you can press pause because nobody wants to listen to a video that's silent. So let's get going. All right, so for this first problem, what we're going to be doing is actually creating another line plot, so another graph. So this says Mrs. Weiss's class grows beans for a science experiment. The students measure the heights of their beans plants to the nearest quarter, 1/4 inch, and record the measurements as shown below. So here we can see all of their data, and what we need to do now is use this data to complete the line. Use this data to complete the line plot below. So you can see I started at 2, and you are going to do the rest. So you have 1/3, 2 1/4, 2 1/2, 2 3/4, 3 and 3 1/4. And it also asks us to label. This is our first time labeling as a class, so I showed you how to do this too. So the title I did for this was the bean plants, because that's what we're working on. And this is showing us the height over here, and over here would show us how many. But we're not going to worry about that part today. So take your time. As you noticed, when I did this, I crossed them off. So like there were 2. That way I make sure I do not add extras because that would change my data. All right, I'm going to go over the answers now. So here you can see I just plotted the rest of them right down here. So you should have had 4 at 1 3/4. Like we said earlier, 2 for 2, 3 at 2 1/4, 3 at 2 1/2, 2 at 2 3/4, 3 at 3, and 2 at 3 1/4. So if you didn't get that, you can finish that right now, and we will continue to the problems that we will be solving for this. So for this next problem, you will see I will bring this graph over. So here we see again, like I just said, this is what I just brought over. That way we can answer these problems. So this first problem asks, how many bean plants are at least 2 1/4 inches tall? So I said there are 9 plants that are at least 2 1/4 inches tall. Here's our 2 1/4 inches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's why I wrote there are 9 bean plants that are at least 2 1/4 inches tall. Now what you're going to do is find out how many bean plants are taller than 2 3/4. So that's over here. Then what is the most frequent measurement? So that means which one do we see the most of? And how many plants were plotted for these measurements? So whichever ones are the most, that's what you're going to do. And it might be only one is the biggest amount. which is fine. It does not have to be two different numbers of heights. For E, it says, George says that most of the bean plants are at least 3 inches tall. Is he right? So you're going to tell me if he's right that most of them are 3 inches tall. And then the last question is, and I'll underline that here, over here for you, 3 inches tall. Is he right? Savannah was absent the day the class measured the heights of their bean plants. When she returns, her plant measures 2 2/4 inches tall. Can Savannah plot her height of her bean plant on the class plot? Why or why not? Now remember, she was absent. So now take your time. These are the last questions for this video. All right, and we are going to go over these answers now. Hopefully you had enough time. If not, just press pause. So here you can see I went over the answers. So for number 2, how many bean plants are taller than 2 3/4? I said there are 5 bean plants that are taller than 2 3/4. So here are 2 3/4. We want to know what is taller. And so we can see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what is the most frequent measurement? Which was seen the most often? And how many bean plants were there? So I said the most frequent measurement is 1 3/4, which is here because we can see. There's 4 of them, which is what I wrote. And there were 4 there. So now this next question, E. George says that most of the bean plants are at least 3 inches tall. Is he right? We said George is wrong because there are 5 bean plants that are at least 3 inches tall and 14 bean plants that are under 3 inches tall. Because what I did was I added up the rest of these. So if you count all of these, there's definitely a lot more than 3 inches tall or bigger than 3 inches. So this last question, it's a little different than one of the other questions that we did before because this one was trying to see if you would plot it or not because it's asking you if she can. And it's actually Savannah cannot plot the height of her bean plant because all the plots need to be done on the same day for accurate results. Because whatever day they plotted their plants might be taller now, which is why she can't plot the same day. But the next time when they measure their plants, they can do that. They can measure all their plants then at the same time and plot them and make a new graph. So that's the end of this lesson. I know this time it was more reading the graphs. So hopefully you did an okay job being able to do this. If not, let me know and we will go over it some more. And as always, I will see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. So stay smart, stay safe, go for the gold, and be the gold medalist I know you can be. Bye.